Hello everyone, welcome back to 3-Minute Masterclass. Today we will be talking about safety stock. So you may have heard this term before. Safety stock refers to an inventory of finished goods that will act as a buffer against unforeseen events. Unforeseen events being higher demand, longer lead times, stuff like that. As an example, we will go back to Mousetrap Incorporated. Again, this is our company that makes 3 sizes of mousetraps. They have 3 production facilities and 10 distribution centers across the US. And the way it works is mousetraps are made in the factory, they're sent from the factory to the distribution centers, and then from the distribution centers, they're sent to the individual stores. In the real world, stuff happens. Sometimes people buy more mousetraps than anticipated, sometimes the trucks take a little bit longer, sometimes the raw materials take a little bit longer, and for this reason, we will want to keep a minimum level of inventory in the distribution centers, and this inventory is the safety stock. Before we get into the actual calculations for safety stock, I want to go over that there's really only 3 things it's looking at. For lead time and demand, you'll want to know the average and the standard deviation of both. The formula contains some algebra. It's not as scary as it looks. SS means safety stock. Z is the Z-score for the service level. Square root is square root. And then the 2 Greek letters there are the average and standard deviation of the lead time and the demand. Instead of explaining this in PowerPoint, I'm going to jump into Excel and we'll show you a demonstration. So, it's best to use Excel to calculate safety stock. Over here in column F, you've got various service levels. Column E, we're using the norms inverse function to get the corresponding Z factor. And you can see that as your service level goes down, your Z score goes down as well. Over here in column B, you've got the inputs. So the average lead time from the factory to the distribution center is 10 days. Standard deviation plus or minus 1 day. Average demand from the distribution center to the stores is 1,000 mousetraps per day. Standard deviation of plus or minus 100. And we're using a 98.5 service level, which is pretty standard in the consumer products industry. So up here, according to this formula, you can see that we need to keep 2,276 mousetraps in our warehouse as a safety stock, just in case the lead time takes a little bit longer or the demand is a little bit higher. We can also play with the numbers. So if the lead time wasn't so dependable and it was, say, plus or minus 3 days of a standard deviation, our safety stock would increase by a lot. And then if the demand went down, say it was 500 units per day instead of 1,000, safety stock would also go down, although it's not a 1-for-1 as you can see it, because it was 2,200 and then goes down by 1,000, because we still have a high standard deviation of demand. Lowering your service level could also lower your safety stock. So if we take it from 98.5 down to 95, we've dropped our safety stock by about 500 units. But you really only want to do that as a last step. You only want to do that if it is You only want to do that if you get to a point where your warehouse is so overcrowded that your workers just can't work. In conclusion, safety stock is a factor of lead time, demand, and service level. We see here in this scenario that for a distribution center shipping 1,000 units a day, you're expected to keep about 2.25 days of sales on hand, which for a 98.5% service level is perfectly reasonable.